career se break liya hai, pregnant, okay, that's normal. They don't realize what it takes, especially people who are into women who are into making a career and making an identity for themselves. तुम्हारे ये जो all these instincts where you want to have a family and you want to bear a child and all of that, but keeping your career on the hold for some time. I've had such pressures. I'm still going through those kind of pressures. I tell them to be free and talk to me about it. Talk to male coaches also about it. There's nothing wrong in talking about your period. If you're uncomfortable, talk about it. I tell them not to rest during their period. Imagine if I have my finals and I get my period today, you can't be resting, right? You have to go play. Yeah, it's never going to be easy for women, isn't it?
Jwala Gutta, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to me. I know it's been a while since Serena Williams announced her decision to sort of evolve away from tennis, but today we're going to be talking about, the reason behind her decision, and it's a decision to go away from sport that men usually don't have to make. Angelique Kerber today also announced that she's pregnant. She will not be playing the US Open this year for now. So do you feel like that's a part of the female athlete's career that's not acknowledged enough? The fact that they're making this massive sacrifice of not starting a family, but instead focusing more on their careers.
I think women are always, subjected to these passing comments. Oh, PMS hai, oh, period hai, that's why mood off, oh, career se break liya hai, pregnant, okay, that's normal. They don't realize what it takes, especially people who are into women who are into making a career and making an identity for themselves. First you have to fight the patriarchal society to be out there, and then तुम्हारे ये जो all these instincts where you want to have a family and you want to bear a child and all of that, but keeping your career on the hold for some time. What it takes for a person who's had a huge career like Serena Williams. I've had such pressures. I'm still going through those kind of pressures, but I think it's very it's become a norm. So when I'm talking about it, people might be like, "Oh, she's a feminist. Ye to bolegi," But only the people who go through it would feel it, and sadly, over here, it is the women who go through it. Either chance nahi hai where a man has to go through a huge change in their body. They don't have to go through it, so I'm sure no man would understand.
Jwala, the other day I was having a conversation with a doctor, and she was sort of telling me about how nowadays, female fertility sort of peaks at 30, and after that, it's, almost a downhill climb. So for athletes, that anxiety is just not something we've even thought about. Like, at 30, they're still sort of at the peak of their careers. We're seeing female athletes play till 35, 36 now. So the anxiety that one must feel, because the thought of, will my body be ready in 5 years when I am ready? That anxiety must be something massive the whole fraternity carries and nobody talks about.
Yeah, and the fear, oh shit, if because in our society, if you're not able to have a child, then it's the girl's fault for some reason, and then there are number of name callings and names given to that particular thing, and somehow then a woman is not competent enough if she cannot bear a child, that kind of a taboo we have to deal with. And it's difficult, and I don't think we talk about it more often. I think we need to talk about more often. We need to give some courage now. There's so much technology which has come in as freezing the eggs. You have to give that kind of an option, educate. And mere time mein nahi tha. Much later I came to know that I could freeze my egg. And I'm all up for it, whatever gives that the women that a little extra time to do what she wants to do in her career, for her identity, for her the independence which she gets from her career. Why not? I think we need to talk about it more openly and not shy away from it. I think a lot of women shy away. I'm surprised that a lot of educated women shy away from it. They don't talk about it. And freezing egg is again not very easy. You have to go through a lot of hormonal changes. You are injected with a lot of ovary stimulation and stuff like that. But yeah, it's never going to be easy for women, isn't it?
I also actually wanted to ask you about the support, because not only is that fear about losing years of your career, there's also the fear of losing sponsors. We've seen athletes in America talk openly about how they've lost sponsors because they were pregnant. So that fear is there. I know, even the Pakistan Cricket Board announced a maternity policy for their cricketers. Our cricketers don't have it. None of our Olympic sports athletes have it. Do you think that's something the government could maybe step up a little with, considering there is a lot more funding coming in now than in your time with the top speed and everything else? But just a maternity scheme, just a little bit of support from the government could also just help really.
Yeah, it would help a great deal. I think more than anything, that moral support is what all everybody is looking for. Whether it's a man or a woman. When it comes to these decision making, it becomes easier. Lesser pressure, less anxiety, less stress on the body as well, if the mind is free. And then their performance in their career becomes better if they don't have that stress. So I think we need to fight harder for this reforms, I think, for women. And you see, everywhere, especially in India, I think women athletes are doing really well, you know, but they need to speak more often for themselves and for others who are looking up to them.
Jwala, you're of course part of a wide badminton community. There's also the Indian sports community. Is this a conversation you possibly had with another athlete? Obviously, not naming
No,
anyone, but just
no, never. We don't talk about it. I think, um, I think now, if you actually see, I also blame this either education or sports. Sports with education are very less people in our sports fraternity. I have finished my graduation, but not many have. So I think education is also very important for women to get empowered, not only in their career. I think the way they start thinking, the education empowers you that way. So I think we need to. I believe I have my own academy, and I force and literally push all the children to, you have to study. I don't want uneducated sports persons, because I believe an educated sports person can lead the way. And this is what our nation needs today.
another thing actually I wanted to speak to you about was what Julian Goswami said recently about there not being enough medical research on how female athletes can, handle their periods better while in competition.
I was introduced to a gynac very early, because for my dad to talk to me, he's still an Indian dad, so it's a little uncomfortable when if he wants to counsel me about me and my body, a woman. So he introduced me to a gynac, and then my gynac always told me to refrain from postponing your period, and you have to mentally be prepared that period is part of our natural life, natural cycle, and you have to I understand that a lot of women go through a lot of pain. I also go through a lot of period cramp and all of that, but I think I've had one of my best performances when I've had my periods as well. So I think you need to consult a doctor for sure. As I said, talk about it more so that there is more research done. I am not for postponing period. Those people take those, medication to postpone or prepone. I don't know. Postpone, I think. Postpone the period, which is not supposed to be healthy. Women are made a certain way. We have to kind of accept it. Our bodies. Having regular period is a good sign. It's a sign of a healthy body. We have to first come to terms with that.
Jwala, you actually talked about your academy sometime back. Is this also the sort of thinking that you, apply in your academy with your younger students? The fact that your father introduced you to gynae so early in your life, is that something you think is very necessary for younger students when they also start their?
100%. I tell them to be free and talk to me about it. Talk to male coaches also about it. There's nothing wrong in talking about your period. If you're uncomfortable, talk about it. I tell them not to rest during their period. That because, if there is a tournament, imagine if I have my finals and I get my period today, you can't be resting, right? You have to go play. So practice being strong mentally and physically. And sadly nowadays, because of a lot of various reasons, the lifestyle, I think women, I never knew about endometriosis, and I get these children who are just 14 years old, very fit looking, and they have PCOD, PCOS, big cramps, not able to get out of the bed. So for me, it surprises me how the health of a body is coming down, of this generation now. So I would only tell and advise everybody to take care of their bodies as much as possible. Pollution is not in our control. Passive smokers around us, meaning passive smoking is not in our control. So what we consume is in our control. So take care of your body. I think healthy body is the ultimate wealth today.